Continue our conversation with Javier Manjarres, the managing editor of the Shark Tank political blog and pretty good interviewer. As we continue to watch some excerpts of your interview with Ted Cruz, we were talking before the break. The whole labeling of Obama-Clinton foreign policy. It's not necessarily limited to those with presidential ambitions. This is pretty much going to be the GOP label for Mrs. Clinton and for the outgoing Obama administration heading into 2016 to link these people together and the failed policies together.
Well, I agree with anyone running for Senate or the House. They're going to be linked to Hillary Clinton. They're going to see how they supported Clinton in the past through her Senate campaign or maybe in 2008. And the GOP would be smart to link them to because Hillary Clinton will run in 2016.
Well, perhaps there is no greater or more dramatic or more costly example of Hillary Clinton's involvement in our foreign policy as Secretary of State as to what happened in Benghazi. And that's a subject Javier brought up with Ted Cruz.
No, of course she hasn't. And I think it's terrific that she'll be testifying before the House. Trey Gowdy, I think, is an excellent chairman of that committee. I was very glad he was named to it. For over a year, I've been calling for the Senate to stand up and do our job as well. In my view, it should be a joint select committee, that the Senate should be engaging in oversight as well. I'm working with a number of colleagues here in the Senate, including Lindsey Graham, to try to press the Senate to do exactly that. And indeed, this past year, I had a resolution for a joint select committee to get to the bottom of what happened in Benghazi. We had 25 senators on board, but Harry Reid killed it and the Democrats wouldn't allow it to come to light. We need to discover what happened. We need to discover, number one, why the early warnings weren't heeded. We heard over and over again that our ambassador, our men and women were in jeopardy, and yet the State Department did nothing to protect them, did not act adequately. We need to understand, number two, why in the midst of the attack, we did not send in sufficient forces to protect the lives of the 4 brave men who died that day. We need to understand, number three, why the terrorists who committed those attacks haven't been brought to justice. It has been a long, long time, and we have not seen the vigilance that frankly, the President looked in the eyes of the American people and promised. And number four, we need to know why the administration, almost top to bottom, told the American people a story that they knew was false. Now, Hillary Clinton famously said, what difference does it make? When 4 brave Americans are murdered by terrorists overseas, it makes all the difference in the world, and we owe it to all the men and women who are serving this country, whether in the military, whether in our intelligence agencies, whether in the State Department, to make sure it doesn't happen again, to learn from these failures and put in place the steps to prevent this sort of tragedy and terrorist attack from recurring.
Do you think with the new Senate majority next year that your joint select committee could come to fruition? I
hope so. I don't know yet. I hope so. I am certainly urging that we do that. There are others who are urging the same thing. I would say at this point a decision hasn't been made, but I'm going to continue pressing it that I think the Senate, we need to do our job just like the House has been stepping up doing its job.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see, in fact, if that were to happen in the U.S. Senate. And I would imagine that some passions are running high in the wake of that Democrat report on the CIA. But is this a two-edged sword? Could Mr. Cruz and others get out so far in front on this that there'd be a backlash of sympathy for Hillary Clinton?
I think for the most part they need to see what comes out of the select committee on Benghazi's in the House, with Trey Gowdy's chairing, and see what comes of that. If there's more to be divulged, as they think more to be divulged, I think they should do a select committee. But we'll wait and see. And it's all political, so depending on where the political winds blow, you'll see something happen there.
Well, you cannot divorce politics from public policy, but again, despite the political opportunities that are here for 2016, it is tied to a very tragic and costly event in American history with the death of an ambassador and 3 other Americans and still a failure of accountability. Javier, you'll be back next hour to debate from a right-leaning perspective, and America's Forum will be back following this on Newsmax TV.